Record in 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ladies Power Lunch Coffee Break. So excited for the conversation that we're going to be having today with our very own Lynn Gallant. She is a health and wellness educator, and she's really going to talk to us a little bit about, I don't know if it's just me, but going through a pandemic, sometimes we can get a little bit caught up with all the other things that are going on and not pay as much attention to our own personal health and wellness. So, Lynn is here to help us get back on track if we've already been on track, just to keep us on that straight and narrow, making sure that we're paying attention to our very own health and wellness. Want to say hi to our friends over on Facebook. We have Audra, we have Jamie, we have Christy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Ladies who have joined us, would you be so kind to just run around the room, introduce yourself? And I don't mean stand up and run around your room unless you really, really want to do that, in which case I welcome you to do that. But I mean, I'm going to go around and ask each of you to please introduce yourself, say who you are and what you do, just very briefly, and then we'll dive right in to chatting with Lynn about how we're going to stay well during this pandemic time. So, Marianne, I have you right at the top of my screen because you're just so beautiful. Would you be so kind as to share with us who are you and what do you do?
I'm Marianne Pack. I have mariannepack.com, and I am a spiritual guide and an oracle for my spirit guides who refer to themselves as the many. So I offer people to be able to ask my spirit guides questions, and I return their message to them.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And Beth, you were able to join us. I'm so excited. Can you share with us who you are and what it is that you're doing in the world? What wonderful things are you up to?
I'm Beth Allison from Within You Coaching, and I'm a life coach currently helping folks job transition by design, not by default.
Yes, ma'am. Love it. Sherry. Beautiful, beautiful Sherry. Welcome. What do you do?
I am Sherry. I have sherrydaniels.com. I work with energy healing, clearing stressed and stuck energy in people and places. And I'm just very glad to be here to learn a little bit more about wellness.
Excellent. Naomi, my dear friend, so happy to have you. Will you share with our guests just who you are and what wonderful things you're doing in the world?
Hi, I'm Naomi Rafalowitz of mindspiritcoaching.com. I am a certified life transition coach. I work with women going through primarily transitions of retirement and relationship change. Oh, we can't hear you, Davia.
Okay, now you can hear me. So thank you, Naomi. Jackie, will you share with us who you are and what you do?
Of course. Thank you. Lovely to see everybody. Jackie Baldwin, financial advisor with B&L Financial Architects. And I also, transition seems to be the word of the day, help women through transition, whether it be marital status, job change, getting ready to enter into retirement.
Excellent. And Christy, welcome. I saw you over on Facebook and then I see you over here. It's like magic. It's a wonderful thing. Welcome. Tell everybody who you are and what it is that you do.
I will. I just thought it would be better to be like connecting to everybody instead of just behind the scenes on Facebook. So I had the time, but I'm Christy Sullivan. And I work with women who want to learn more about what human design is and help women align their energy and use self-care as a way to just live life more easily and find actually more time to do things, I think, too.
I love that. Love that. Love that. I feel like there are no accidents because everybody who's here on this call today is somebody who is helping their clients to basically live their optimal lives. And I think this is a through line for everybody. So lots of opportunities, in my opinion, for connections. I hope that you guys will connect with each other afterwards, as you are always invited to do. So let's get started. Lynn, who are you? What do you do? And how does what you do help us?
Well, I love how everybody has like kind of a hand in this whole
big, what I call like a wheel of wellness. I, as you had said, am a health and nutrition educator. A little friend of mine said I should call myself a counselor because when it comes down to it, wellness is really about what it means to you and how it affects you. So everybody's wellness is different. You know, I utilize whole food nutrition products. I mean, I have an aeroponic garden system, but it really is about your client's needs. So I like to say that I provide like a salad bar of options, and it's about what they need. It is about what Christy said. It's about self-care. It's about mindfulness. It's about the whole, everything that's connected to it. So I think you had mentioned, you know, really during this time that we're talking about, how do we stay well and how do we feel well? It's really about connecting inward to how we're feeling and determining what we need to adjust. Nutrition is always going to be important to a certain extent. Our sleep is always going to be important. Our you know, hydration and all those basics. But in this time, we're always going to be tweaking that. And I think it's important to go inward and determine, okay, every morning, check in with ourselves. What do I need today to get through today or the week? And make sure that we're balancing that. And each person needs to know that they have choices. And those choices are, you know, what am I eating on a given, you know, a daily basis or a weekly basis? And do I want to make changes in that? Do I have the ability or the desire to make changes in that? And we take it from there. I never want to say that someone has to make changes in that. It's really about what they are willing and able to do. So it's really about, you know, that all-encompassing wellness wheel and, you know, the different pieces of that puzzle.
Awesome. I'm gonna crowdsource this question, actually. Yeah. I want to say welcome to Wendy, who's over on our Facebook group. And Wendy says, Lynn is very knowledgeable and caring. So we're already getting hearts and likes for you over on our Facebook group. Awesome. I want to put this out there because I know it's not just me, but has anybody been finding that just paying attention to wellness has been a little bit more difficult during this time? Anybody? No, it's just me. Yeah. And so, Lynn, I want to ask you, why do you think that we're finding it more difficult now than we have in the past?
Well, I think it's because there's a lot of extra noise out there. And in noise, I mean with what's being reported on the situation of COVID. We're more in tune because we have to be more in tune. We're sitting back and we're having to adjust our lives because we're not free. We're not, oh, I'm just going to go about my life. We have to put our masks on. So that's one awareness. The awareness is so different that we've had to shift. So when you know that you have to do certain things, you may pull back and say, well, you know, I'm going to rebel a little bit. Your internal struggle is like, well, if I have to do that, I don't want to do this. And I'm going to give myself a little leeway. Kind of like I read an article, it was like a surge capacity thing. You're giving yourself a little break on certain things because you're having to give up other things. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. You know, I'm so glad that you are pointing at this, like shining a light on this, because I really want you guys to appreciate that if you are feeling like your attention to your health and wellness has been slipping a little bit, it's not just you. I was talking to one of my dear friends who was the leader on our last Ladies Power Lunch coffee break. I was talking to Meredith yesterday. We were just chitter-chattering, and I was saying to her, you know, I was looking in my journal, and the last time I journaled was 2 weeks ago. And this has been something that is a part of my life. It's a part of my day. It's a part of my wellness practice. And yet, for the last 2 weeks, maybe something is causing me to rebel against that journaling. And I think you've really hit the nail on the head. So Wendy's asking, so what do we need to do? What things?
Well, I think you just mentioned it. You realized that something was missing. And I think you do, like every morning I check in with myself and have that moment where I'm going, okay, what's important, what's important, what's important today. But you do have to have that core, write down that core group of things that are important for you. And then kind of go back to those and say, okay, what's missing? Because I think we do, when we do check in with ourselves, we realize, like I think Jackie just put down, I've been slipping a little on my nutrition. We're not going to be perfect in this time. We do need to give ourselves a little bit of grace, but we do also need to recognize if we're not getting the sleep, that is something that is really going to mess us up. And why are we not sleeping? Is it because we're not getting that journaling time? Is it because we're not getting that movement in during the day? We need to pinpoint what is the cause of that. And maybe it needs to go to the wayside. That's okay. But to look inward and question that is very helpful. Talk to a friend. Community is so important right now. And to reflect on that with somebody else, someone like Christy, someone like Naomi, someone like Marianne, to reach out and say, gee, is it me or am I missing something? You're not necessarily going to have the answer yourself. But I really think, for me, I haven't fallen off in certain things like nutrition because that's something that is, it's in my wheelhouse. It's something that I live and die by, so to speak. But I might slip up on something else and then realize, oh, geez, I haven't been sleeping so well. What is it that I'm not doing? Oh, I'm not getting into, enough cardio, or I'm not meditating enough, or I'm, certain things. The self-care aspect might not be enough. You really have to kind of dig deep on some of these things and realize you do need to change them up, especially in this climate. Take a look at something new and change it up, because a lot of things are not changing and it gets a little stale.
So what would you say are the do's and don'ts for approaching your wellness plan during this time that is a bit different from other times that we've been through?
Well, I don't think I would say it's going to be too different, because I'm of the philosophy that never make too many changes at once, because that's not sustainable. You never want to go, okay, I'm going to change my whole diet, I'm going to become vegan, and I'm going to take out all the meat, because it's just not sustainable, and it's not fair to you to make a huge change during this time. Make little
Unless you really want to make a huge change for some, specific reason. But I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, be realistic with your goals. And if you wanted, I think trying something new and maybe partnering with somebody on it, having a buddy during this time is a great idea, because having a sense of community when a lot of people are feeling very alone right now is a great idea. But
I love the idea of having community around things, especially now when many of us are, and well, unless you're out and about in the essential sense, you're working out of your home for most people. So the connectivity with people is more limited now than it has been before. So if you can find a buddy to work with on your health and wellness, it can be helpful. For me this morning, my partner was Manda. Manda Stack. She's one of our members in our Ladies Power Lunch group. And she texted me, "Did you get your journaling in?" this morning, and I was happy to be able to say to her, yes, I'm back on my journaling bandwagon. It's happening again. So I agree with you so much. Having that community, having somebody to be able to bounce things off is always going to be a great idea. And aren't we fortunate to have this group that has so many people who are health and wellness focused who can support us?
Yes, and collaborative efforts are moving forward that you've been focusing on, I think are going to be key in, I think, not only attracting people, because it's not just one, it's the power of many, but it just makes sense. I don't really know how to explain it further than the fact that, you know, I had an event the other night and it just made sense to have two people running something that established that community aspect, creating purpose. Because if there's no purpose behind it, I don't think we're driven to want to achieve.
I have some comments here over in Facebook land. Wendy says, information overload makes it harder to focus on what is really important. And Jamie says, accountability partners are so motivating. I notice we have some comments in the chat here as well. So I'm just going to open it up for us to comment. And I don't know if Jackie and Beth and Christy, if you guys want to chime in about what you guys are thinking as far as maintaining our wellness during this pandemic time. So let's see. You want to go, Christy?
Sure. I think Lynn is great in saying, you know, she used the word grace. We have to give ourselves, I think, a lot of grace. Because there are so many distractions. I called it the kind of enemy, but they happen. The information overload, it's probably not going away. We're just moving from this technology world into more of this intuitive world, but there's distractions, there's always information, and we just have to be kind to ourselves. Like it's great to see the silver lining in some of this COVID and craziness of all the latest trends about people caring and wanting to see more love, more kindness to each other. But it has to start with us. I always say, like, self-care is self-love. And if we need self-love, then we need to be just caring for ourselves. But doing it also, as Lynn said, in small increments is so important, because when we try to like bite the big elephant, it doesn't work. You have to do it one step at a time. So just be gentle with yourself and get 5 minutes in here and there, or eat something good once a day and start there.
Awesome. And Jackie, I don't know if you're in a position to comment, but you had dropped in the chat that you've fallen off your wagon for nutrition and sleep.
Yeah. So I know that I've fallen off. I feel it in my body. But the good news is, unlike before where I wouldn't have understood the effects that it has, I do now know. So I know what I need to do to fix it. The fact that my son made snickerdoodles last night doesn't really help. I don't know if anybody knows snickerdoodles, but they're like my favorite cookie. My grandmother used to make them. So unfortunately, those were sitting around, but be that as it may. And Christy is helping me with my sleep.
Excellent.
Yay.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Lynn, I want to get back to you, and I want you to tell us, some of your words of wisdom, any technology that can help us, any books you think we should be reading, any hacks, anything that can really support us with our wellness during this time.
Well, I have to say, during this time, I've learned a lot about human design. And I think anything that you can learn about yourself and how you operate is so helpful, because when you understand more about yourself, then you give yourself more grace, as Christy used that word again. I love that, in the way that you need to operate. So knowing how I give myself breaks during the day. I schedule myself breaks. And you should never like put yourself in front of the computer and don't give yourself breaks because thinking that that's going to benefit somebody else, because if it doesn't benefit you and you don't, take the opportunity to move in between and hydrate and mentally focus on something else, then you're not doing anybody else a favor. You are definitely not doing anybody else a favor. So really check in with what resonates with you. I really like podcasts by like Jay Shetty. I think Mark Hyman has a lot of great nutritional points when it comes to whole food and what to put in your body, if anybody's looking for that. I do have a couple of Facebook pages that I'm operating now. One is, of course, about wine, but one is also about wellness. And plugging into those, I often steal from people I know, offering tips on how to treat anxiety, different tips. But a lot of it is just stepping out into the outdoors for 5 minutes. Taking a walk around your house and just noticing things. And, as for books, I think I would just refer to the list that you've put out there, because everybody in the community is so well read and they've already, put that together. I don't think I could state that any better, because there's such a variety right there. And now
the list that Lynn is talking about, just for those of you who might not know, is our book list, our reading list for 2020, 2021. Every year we pick a group of books that we're going to read for the year. And if you click in our Facebook group on announcements, you'll see the whole list. The link to the list is there. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, and there's so many authors within our group. I would certainly tap into that. But when it comes down to giving yourself grace, I mean, every day check in with yourself and do what you need to do, because this whole surge capacity and COVID exhaustion is real. And there are resources for you within this group, tons of people who you can tap into based on what you need. If you need nutritional advice, if you need self-care advice, if you need, a coach to help you along the way, we're here for you. But everybody needs a little something right now. It's community, it's a hand to hold, and it's just a little bit of advice. So I highly recommend teaming up with someone or just reaching out to someone and connecting and realizing what that might be.
Excellent. I love all of that. So Lynn, you have a number of platforms that you launch off of when you're going to help your clients with health and wellness. Would you say a little bit about those?
Certainly. I joined the Juice Plus and Tower Garden platform solely because of what it did for my health. I was very sick for many, many, many years, and just putting more micronutrients and phytonutrients into my body in the form of whole food nutrition, just fruits and vegetables and berries and capsules. That's really all it is. So I joined that to share that with people who just want to add more of that into their diets. And I love the aeroponic garden because it does increase my food security, and I love growing fresh greens and herbs in my house all year round. So those two are my primary platforms. And then I did add clean crafted wine, wine with no additives, just the fermented grapes. It is a great solution for those who want to have no added sugar. You can actually see the residual sugars in each wine if you check on the website, which is great for people who are wanting to watch their sugar. And it ships direct to your door. And in this COVID climate, I think wine sales have increased like 400%. So if you're going to drink it, why not drink it cleaner? I guess that's my message on that one. You know,
Interesting. So I want to mention something because it's really it surprised me. So I have a pretty set eating plan. I have very specific things that I allow in my sphere and things that I do not. And to be a part of our Ladies Power Lunch, Ladies Night Out, which was really Ladies Night In just this week, I decided that, okay, everybody was having a glass of wine. I was going to have a glass of wine too. And so I got, the regular wine from the store, whatever. And it's not something that I usually include in my regular day to day activity. And it was really interesting because yesterday, the day after, I had a tremendous headache. Tremendous. I mean, I had to cancel some morning appointments because I used to have migraines back in the day, and because I've really been very careful with what I consume, I haven't had migraines in a long, long time. And I was hit with a migraine yesterday. And it's interesting the difference between the clean crafted wine, in my body at least, and the wine from just the store. So it was my own fault for not ordering my wine for for the wine tasting in time and having to just run out and get whatever. But I will tell you, I will not be doing that again. And going forward, it's just gonna be the clean crafted or nothing. So that's my little story.
well, it does make a difference because there is no labeling on wines, so you do not know what is in it. And if anybody wants more information and education, please reach out to me. I'm happy to just educate.
Awesome. Awesome. So, any final words for us? Any just final tips for getting us through with focusing on our wellness during this pandemic time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to preach to people. I really like them to make choices for themselves. But if you are looking to feel better and you do want to focus a little more on nutrition, just start weeding out maybe one thing a month. Like, okay, I'm gonna, and what I mean is processed, processed foods and things like that. A lot of times that can really make a difference in how you feel, inflammation wise and things like that. I really think so. And, moving forward, just focusing on just making sure you're hydrating throughout the day and moving a little bit more. Just try to increase that hydration and movement. And I think that will help your sleep patterns as well, because those
Yes,
are all interconnected. I mean,
all interconnected and all
it's crazy
important
how
things.
yeah. So just, decreasing processed foods, hydrating, and moving a little bit more each day can really help that sleep. And then you're not, I mean, if you can feel just that little bit better, your brain's going to work better too.
I love it. Jamie over on Facebook, she mentions that time blocking is helpful for her. We have some
Mm-hmm.
hearts and likes, and Wendy is also agreeing with you that what you're suggesting is true. And then we have some comments over here in the chat.
I love time blocking, Jamie.
Yes, I know,
Time
right?
blocking. I rely on that sometimes I canceled a lunch today because I was like, oh, I just overbooked myself. I can't do that. It's going to be too much. You got to do it.
Yep. You have to set boundaries and remember always that no is a complete sentence and no thank you is a perfect complete sentence.
Yes.
Christy
Oh, yeah.
says grace is a good word. Jackie says smelling those cookies last night made me feel warm all over. That's so fun. Awesome. And Christy also wants to talk to you, Lynn, about you hosting a wine tasting for her. So if anybody wants to do something like that or connect with Lynn regarding tower gardens, which are amazing ways to be able to have vegetables, fresh vegetables in your home, even during the winter months, because I'm going to have a winter garden with my tower garden this year. I promise it's happening. If you want to talk to her about whole food nutrition, you can also reach out to her. Lynn, can you say what your website is?
Certainly, I have. I'm working working on getting a landing page established, but I have 3 websites.
Okay, I'm going to give you this homework. You're going to go on to GoDaddy and you're going to get lynngallant.com.
I already do have that.
Okay.
It's just not up and running yet.
Oh, okay. And then you link that back to your link tree, and that way people can just connect with every single thing.
It's already
Look at me giving business advice. I've got to stop.
It's already established. I already have it, but I just have to get it.
All you need to do is just connect it to your link tree. And then when they go to your link tree, all your links are there so they can see every single thing and every single way that they can connect with you. So it's lynngallant.com, guys. That's how you're going to connect with Lynn.
Yep.
I just bullied you into that. Awesome.
It's already happening. If I just need a little help finishing it.
Great stuff. So guys, any final words? Marianne, any thoughts? Beth, Sherry, Naomi, Christy, Jackie?
No, it was great. Like, I know that not everybody is along with me, but it's nice to know that everybody's along with me, you know?
Yes,
well, we're
all
here.
In this together.
We're here with you.
We are all in this together. Naomi, any final comments?
Oh, it's just so good to be here with everyone. Lynn, you have supported me along the way, and I know others are gonna just love your support too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely. Marianne, how's it going all the way over there in Texas?
I have my whole page of notes here.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Lynn.
Thank you so much, Marianne. Great to see you. Great to see you all.
It was great to see everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us over on Facebook. And I invite you all to join us back at 1 o'clock when we're going to be having Free Gift Friday. I'm pretty sure almost everybody who comes on the call is going to win a prize. So see you guys at 1. Thank you, Lynn, for being such a wonderful guest.
Thanks, Lynn.
And I'll see you all later today. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.